Welcome to the Containment Zone. Some anomalies are living, some are objects, and some are spaces, not haunted, not cursed, just wrong. SCP-3008. Designation: the Infinite IKEA. You know the place. The endless furniture, the awkward lighting, the maze-like layout. But this isn't your local retail store. This one doesn't end. There's no front door, no checkout, and no way back. It looks like an ordinary IKEA until you walk in. Once inside, you might wander off the showroom path, cut through the lighting section, turn left past the sofas, and when you try to leave, you won't find the exit. You won't even find a wall. Just more aisles, more identical signs, more silence, and the sound of footsteps that aren't yours. The Foundation first identified the anomaly after a missing persons case in Sweden. A family of 3 vanished without a trace. Their last known location, IKEA 10, outside Stockholm. Security footage showed them entering, browsing, but never leaving. They simply disappeared, and no one noticed for 3 days, until someone else emerged, alone, carrying a makeshift spear, wearing a vest made of torn aprons, and whispering, "Don't stay after closing." The survivor was male, early 30s, malnourished, sunburned. Despite never leaving the building, he called himself Marcus, said he'd been inside for what felt like 2 years. Medical scans showed his hair had grown by less than an inch. Chronological tests were inconclusive. Marcus said the place was endless. He wandered for days before finding other people. Small communities, scattered settlements built from showroom furniture. Whole villages made of sofas and shelves arranged into crude walls. The inhabitants called it the store. They had rules. Never sleep alone. Never move during closing hours. And above all, if you hear them say the store is closed, hide. Marcus spoke of the staff, creatures that resembled IKEA employees, tall, faceless, dressed in standard uniforms. They didn't speak, except to repeat phrases in flat, artificial tones. "The store is now closed. Please exit the building. Have a nice day. Please return to the showroom." If you didn't comply, they came for you. At night, the lights dimmed, the temperature dropped, and the staff patrolled the aisles, looking, hunting. Marcus survived by joining a group of over 40 others. They called their settlement Exchange 6, a fortified camp built from bed frames and particle board. They traded food scavenged from the employee-only kitchens. They mapped parts of the store, hallways that led nowhere, shelves stacked with duplicates of the same product for miles. And they kept records, books made of napkins, logs written in eyeliner and broken pencils. But people kept disappearing, sometimes pulled into the dark, sometimes walking too far alone and never coming back. And sometimes they came back different. One woman walked out of the darkness with her eyes closed, repeating the same phrase over and over, "I found the loading dock." Then she screamed, until her voice broke. Marcus escaped through what he called a rupture, a wall that flickered, that shimmered, like heat in the air. He ran through it and woke up, on the floor, of the real-world IKEA, right between the kitchenware and the checkout lanes. Covered in dust, no one saw him arrive, but he left behind something else. A torn IKEA notepad. On it, a single sentence: "We're still inside." Externally, SCP-3008 appears as an ordinary IKEA store. Dimensions consistent, no architectural irregularities. But crossing the threshold initiates an untraceable spatial shift. Monitoring equipment sent inside never returns the same data twice. The interior expands endlessly. Aisles stretch for kilometers. Lighting remains uniform, no day, no night. And there are no walls. Just an infinite sprawl of displays, model kitchens, stage bedrooms, and identical signs pointing to exits that never exist. But the layout changes. Maps drawn by survivors go out of date within days. Entire regions of the store shift overnight. One group reported building their shelter near a landmark, a hanging yellow sofa. They returned after a supply run. The sofa was gone. In its place, a canyon of storage shelves, each stacked with nothing but plastic plants, from floor to ceiling. Another group marked their territory with arrows drawn in red ink. By morning, the arrows pointed back at them. Some locations remain consistent across testimonies. The void corridor, a black hallway with no lights, no air circulation, and no end. Checkout Hill, a mound of cash registers piled into a slope, completely non-functional. Frozen Lane, a refrigerated section that plays the same IKEA jingle on loop for hours. Assembly Field, thousands of unboxed furniture pieces scattered across open terrain like bones. No one knows how deep the structure goes. Some survivors claim to have reached upper levels. Mezzanines stacked with ceiling tiles and disassembled mannequins. Others mention basements. They speak of sounds, elevators that open into black, a low hum that vibrates in your bones. D-class surveillance drones have been sent in. Most are lost. Some return with altered timestamps. Others return without their cameras. But something inside them keeps transmitting breathing. The Foundation now theorizes that SCP-3008 is a closed environment with emergent behavior, a living maze, built not just to trap, but to adapt. Every decision you make inside changes the structure. Every path you follow reshapes what comes next. And the longer you stay, the more the store starts to understand you. SCP-3008's most disturbing feature is not its size, not its shifting geometry, not even the people trapped inside. It's the staff. They appear after hours, faceless, tall, humanoid, wearing IKEA uniforms, no mouths, no eyes, just a stretched approximation of a smile, stitched into pale, rubbery skin. They emerge only when the overhead lights dim. When the intercom clicks on with a flat, toneless voice. Attention, the store is now closed. Please exit the building. And if you don't, they come for you. They move silently until the final approach. Then they sprint. Clumsy, unnatural, arms too long, hands open, fingers stiff, like mannequins snapping to life. They don't speak. They repeat, over and over. The store is now closed. Please return to the showroom. Please comply. But it's not a request. It's a warning. Encounters vary. Some staff simply chase. Others tear through barricades. Some wander through settlements without touching anything, until someone looks at them. Then they react. One survivor described a staff member that stood at the edge of their encampment for hours, didn't move, didn't speak, until someone asked, "What do you want?" And then it screamed, not with sound, with vibration dash dash, shaking every display shelf within 30 meters until they collapsed. The staff cannot be reasoned with. They don't recognize names. They don't respond to injuries. One was decapitated. Its body kept walking. Another was caught in a trap made of lighting racks. It spoke, for the first time, no exit, no exit, no exit. Then it collapsed. Its body dissolved into something resembling wet paper. By morning, 3 more staff appeared in its place. Theories suggest the staff are not individuals. They're manifestations of the store's control system, a security protocol, a correction mechanism, not truly alive, not truly machines, just enforcers of the rules of this reality. And if you break those rules, even by surviving, they will find you. Because here, in SCP-3008, you're not a customer, you're the inventory that wandered off the shelf. People live inside SCP-3008, not just for hours, not for days, for years. Entire generations of survivors have formed communities, structured, named, and guarded. Some settlements are small, 5 or 6 individuals clustered inside bunk beds and kitchen displays. Others are sprawling. The largest discovered so far, Exchange 22, over 120 inhabitants, built from bookshelves, walled with mattress stacks, towers of dressers connected with duct-taped ladders. They have roles, scouts, guards, cooks, cartographers, tasked with mapping the unmappable. They pass down traditions, stories, rituals to survive nightfall. Some use plastic cutlery as currency. Others carve hours into tabletops, recording how long they've been there. Most settlements display some kind of banner, a flag made from blankets or signage, not for pride, but to claim territory, because the store is always shifting, and so are its dangers. Leaders rise, those who've lasted longest without injury. They teach others the rules. Never look too long at mirrors. Don't follow the lights that move on their own. And if someone says they've found an exit, question everything. Because imposters exist. People who speak too clearly, who don't blink, who ask you to follow them toward an aisle that wasn't there yesterday. And when you do, you don't come back. Some survivors believe SCP-3008 is testing them, that the store wants civilization, that it's trying to evolve by watching how people organize. Others think it's a joke, a cosmic prank, a hell where comfort and branding hide despair. And a few? They've stopped trying to leave. They dress like the staff now. They patrol the aisles. They tell newcomers, it's easier if you stop looking for the exit. Not everyone resists the store. Some become part of it. No one knows where SCP-3008 came from. It was built like any other IKEA. Blueprints match other stores. Construction records are unremarkable. But something changed. Something inside. Whether it was always anomalous or something activated it later remains unknown. What is known? People vanish. They go in, browse, wander, turn a corner, and never leave. Except some do. Rarely, unpredictably, the exit phenomenon. In over 70 documented cases, individuals have spontaneously reappeared in the real world. No pattern, no time frame. Some emerge after hours, others, years. They wake up in parking lots, on rooftops, inside completely different stores, each one confused, each one dehydrated, exhausted, but intact. Some remember what happened, others don't. One man spoke of an exit sign that began to glow. He walked toward it. The world blinked. He was standing in front of a self-checkout kiosk, surrounded by paramedics. Another survivor claimed she never found an exit. She simply stopped running, closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she was lying in her own bed, and the shirt she was wearing was still tagged from the inside. Foundation analysts suggest SCP-3008 might be porous, that it lets people out not by design, but by choice, as if it's filtering them, measuring them, rewarding something. Others believe the exit is part of the illusion, a final test. What if no one ever leaves? What if what returns is a version the store created? One agent found a survivor with perfect recall, down to GPS coordinates of settlements inside the store. He took detailed notes, drew diagrams. Then, 72 hours later, he tore the diagrams apart, set them on fire, and said, "IKEA doesn't like being mapped." He vanished later that night. The cameras showed him walking into an ordinary stockroom, but he never came out. Inside, all they found was a red lanyard, still warm, printed on it, Employee of the Month. SCP-3008 is still open, still operating, still inviting customers. From the outside, it's just another big box store. Fluorescent lights, soft music, endless choice. But once you're inside, the illusion ends, and the store begins. The Foundation has sealed off the original location, replaced it with a false construction site, surrounded it with cognitohazard warnings. But the phenomenon may be spreading. Reports of shifting layouts and staff that won't stop smiling have emerged in other IKEA locations. Some people describe dreams of infinite shelves, waking up with shopping tags pressed into their palms. We don't know if SCP-3008 is local, or if it's a concept spreading through recognition, a meme, a structure built inside the mind, because the longer you study it, the more it makes sense. The endless repetition, the sterile friendliness, the subtle erosion of identity. A space designed not to trap you physically, but to convince you it's easier not to leave. And over time, you believe it. Not because you like it, but because you forget that anything else exists. Thank you for reviewing another anomaly in the Containment Zone. And if you ever find yourself in a store that looks just a little too big, with signs pointing nowhere and staff who smile too long, don't look for the exit. Run before the store decides you belong there too.